Well, hello, and welcome to Gallifrey's Most Wanted. I'm Ross Aiken. I'm old who,
And my name is Melvin Pena. I represent You Who.
and we got together. It was Melvin's idea to do something for the anniversary, and I've not really done stuff for the anniversary except the big ones. And I went, it's a good one. And he talked about his love of Day of the Doctor. I have the same. I think we'll probably be
In
of
accord.
like minds on this.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but so we're going to revisit it. I
Yes.
know I watched it 3 times.
I watched it
Um,
3 times also.
Yeah, and I catch things. I caught things I hadn't seen or don't remember.
Me too.
I do. There are certain moments in this that I'm just like going, why isn't every Doctor Who this well acted, this well directed? Um,
Structured the whole 9 yards.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and folks, you listen to this podcast, when they do the big episodes, I think for the most part they overdo them, and I think that for a lot of television, just find a nice story, tell the story, and have the finale be good, but it doesn't need to be Marvel extravaganza or even just it has to be a good ending. So
Also, cheers, Ross, and happy Doctor Who Day. Today is the
like
23rd of November. So
yeah,
happy Doctor Who Day to
62nd, it's 62nd birthday.
all of you listening at home. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
so and
this
this one
is
I'm
I'm sorry,
going
go
to
ahead,
drop
Ross.
this today, so it
Mhm.
just drop on the anniversary.
Yes, and I've already we were just discussing this beforehand. Sorry, Ross, to spoil the deal, but Ross was going to call this episode "Day of the Doctor Revisited." I insist that it's the Day of the Doctor 12th anniversary extravaganza. So that's
Yeah, I and
we're
that
celebrating the
and he
12th
was quite
anniversary.
right. He was quite right, and that will be the title on the title card. I appreciate it. It is because wait a minute. Let's kind of get to it. This
Yes, get in.
was
Let's just
Doctor
dive
Who
in.
at its peak,
Yep, for the new series. Yep,
popularity in the
yep,
modern era, and
yep,
I think in some ways the peak worldwide because it had definitely become a worldwide show.
yep.
It was something that we all, it had. I mean, it always did, but to be all in unison and that they aired this at the same at did they
Global
did this
simulcast. Yep, this
yeah
was
the
it went
look
live worldwide the same
it's
time everywhere.
so couldn't watch it that way because I didn't have cable, but that's part of the story. But everybody could watch it at once.
Yep.
And it was a big deal. They had the after show. They were still doing Unleashed, not
Yep.
Unleashed,
Confidential.
confidentials. I mean, this is kind of BBC America didn't start airing it on the same day as England did for the first three seasons. I mean, it took
At
BBC
least I think it
America.
was. I think it wasn't until after I don't think it was till Matt Smith that it was day and date.
I think you may be right. That would be about it. And what it was is they just didn't realize what they had, and
Yep.
BBC America leaned into it, and it got
Yep.
the best ratings it got. I don't know why they
Which is
took it
extraordinary
off,
that it took
why
off
they
that.
moved it. Just
Yep.
in this country, just leave it there because it's and then Doctor Who episode. They do reruns all the way through. It was great,
Yep. But it's
and
extraordinary. You
it
forget
was a big celebration.
because the day and date stuff. Like I mean, to go from you know scattered airings to day and date, and then to the 50th anniversary within like 3 years because Matt Smith started in 2010. And it may not have even been day and date with Matt Smith season one. It may not have started until season
Yeah,
two.
I didn't even think to look that up, but it
So to
was
go from that to global simulcast in like two
oh my
years
god, and it
is,
was crazy. It was
yep.
absolutely crazy. I'm going to tell. Okay, so I wanted to ask, how did you view this in real time?
Yes, I watched it
Okay,
as it was going out on BBC America. Yep.
did you do anything special, or did you just sit down and tell your roommates to shut the fuck up? And
I, I mean, I did what I did what I usually. I mean, I think I actually didn't do what I usually do, which is get in the mood for Doctor Who, as it were.
okay,
If
yeah.
I can speak in code
Yeah,
terms.
I don't think it's it. People have they've heard me say it's
Yes,
okay.
no,
Yeah,
but I love that because I always loved watching Doctor Who with certain medicinal properties because for me it's how I started watching. It's what I how I fell in love with watching the X Files. It's how I watched all of Lost because for me my special show, like I really love watching it that way, as it were, under the influence for the first time, because then when I watch it a second time it's brand new again, and I
yeah, it
love that.
is.
I love that.
I,
I love having that experience twice.
so so um
But yeah, no, I watched it
I
day and
couldn't
date, and I
want.
think I watched it just au natural, as it were.
Okay.
Hmm.
So my buddy Ken came over and we imbibed.
Hmm.
And I had some jelly babies and some jammy Dodgers
Hmm.
on a plate. He was like, "What is that?" He's like, he goes, and he figured it out. He went, "Is that a Jamie Don?" You mean he just looked at me as friends who, when you cross a line of nerdy that they don't
Yes.
understand, they just kind of go give you the side eye. You are
You're
such
in
a
my
dork.
world now.
Yeah,
Like Hellraiser, we have such sights to show you.
yeah. So we kind of
Speaking of Hellraiser, we also need to talk about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut off the prelude, but eventually we're going to talk about the Night of the Doctor also, because that is an important part of this. And of course, Claire Higgins played Julia in Hellraiser, so there's a link there as well.
There is a link. Okay,
Yes.
Me and
Anyways,
Ken,
go ahead. Sorry, Ken.
But Ken
Yes.
came over and we watched it. We had to we found a way to watch it on a live feed ish.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. From the UK. And then once it was done, I downloaded a version of it and it was a little cleaner. We were definitely having some distortion. So we got to watch it twice in one day.
But that also feels like legitimate Doctor Who. Like, when people used to watch it on 10th generation VHS, like there's a joy to watching Doctor Who distorted.
I had a box of reconstructions that were 6th and 7th generation that just looked like static by the time I watched it. And I watched them religiously. It was very neat. It was, also as a Doctor Who fan, I never give a shit what people thought of my nerdiness. I go, I'm a nerd. You're a nerd. Everybody's a nerd. It's just about different shit. But I was really kind of with Doctor Who that it became a worldwide thing. It was like, I'm so excited for it. There was something like that too, it was a big celebration. And I treated it as such as in my own little bubble, and I had a great time. And it kind of started the night before, because there was all of a sudden the word was something's dropping today.
Yep.
And we're like, what the fuck is it? And you think it's gonna be. I'm not a big. Sometimes like the first one right between Tennant and Eccleston, that little mini episode worked. I like the one with Tennant and Davison, but sometimes they're just. It's for kids and it's supposed to be very light, but Moffat just did he set up everything very well. He had a little mini thing at the beginning, which is like a special, just to show everything's continuity. They keep doing it to put Paul on screen. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's the other thing, Ross. Your memory sheet, because that was a week before, because it was Paul McGann. Week? It was a week before because it was Paul McGann's birthday that it dropped. That they dropped Night. But
they had to drop it early because
someone was going to leak. Yep.
So they did it the day.
It happened to be on Paul McGann's birthday, which was even better, and it was a week before, which turned out for the best because it gave that a week of its own. Like that was able to live for a week in people's minds. But I mean, we can go back even further because we forget. Like I forgot going back and rewatching Night of the Doctor reminded me, of course, that before that there was just a series of revelations that entire year. Like it had been 3 or 4 months since the end of the season, since Name of the Doctor.
Yeah, it was like 3 months.
Because John Hurt comes up on screen and you have all those doctors at the beginning of Name of the Doctor and then John Hurt revelation at the end. And then you get the Night of the Doctor and then you get Day of the, like, it was just like a series of bombs dropping, and it was absolutely astonishing, like how they kept up that momentum over the course of the year.
It was. They did such a good job. And then I always felt Chibnall was better about secrets.
Yes. I mean, there's
he was better. He was much better. He knew how to do it. I'll put a trailer that they're going to be in the scene of and just cut them out and people will just not notice.
Yeah. Chibnall kept all that shit in the lockbox.
Yeah. It was amazing. Where Moffat was a little, they done as good. Some shit got out and he stopped it, but he wanted this to be a surprise, especially since we're getting our only War Doctor story. So we're going to get. I mean, thank God Big Finish got several box sets in before John Hurt passed, but to have to create this character
out of whole cloth,
and then tie it in and hit all those nerdy beats, making him land on Karn, making her make the potion. But see, when watching that episode, had it been spoiled for you when you saw the mini?
No. When I woke up that morning, again, Paul McGann birthday a week ago, so that would have been 7 minus 23, the 16th, I guess. Whatever Paul McGann's flipping birthday is. I got up and there was a link on the internet. I just clicked the link. Like I didn't know what it was. I was so glad. I was so thrilled in retrospect, and all the 12 years since then. I cannot wrap my head around, Ross, that was
That was
12
12
years
years.
ago.
Yeah, it is.
But because even like again watching it today, and I was so obsessed with Night of the Doctor, having been such a huge, and you can revisit my Kettle and Some String with Dave Rennie episode where we talk about the entire Eighth Doctor era, and I go into a lot of detail about it, but like my history with the Eighth Doctor, that is. But to be able to see him have his moment on screen, and I was so obsessed with that I ripped the YouTube video to MP3 and would just like listen to it on my dog walk. I would just listen to it over and over and over again. Like it became such a part of.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
so incredible. It's an entire era
it
basically
is. It is.
in 7 minutes. It's
And
unbelievably dense.
it's so intense. And I remember watching. It's like, oh, it's going to be a little silly skit thing. Someone else is going to be here. It's blah blah blah. And when she's talking to the computer, and he goes,
Cass, yep.
Cass is talking to the computer, and then you hear
I'm a doctor.
What's his first line? He goes,
I'm a
not who you
doctor. He's like, I'm a doctor,
not the one you're expecting,
but not the one. Probably not the one you're expecting. Yeah.
It
It's
was
incredible.
It was. He's wearing the costume that he did that he had used. Was it the one he did for a
No,
photo shoot? This was the first one they made.
This was the first time you saw it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was halfway between.
Yeah, the photo shoot later on was a slightly different one that they reconstructed from that pattern. But like again, Paul McGann, like the one of the things about the Night of the Doctor is like the script is extremely intense and very densely written. I mean, Stephen Moffat's just an incredible writer, but also you get three incredible actors to bring it to life because Emma Campbell Jones just feels right. Paul McGann, when he's just doing like that's a small set of the bridge of that ship, but like he's looking around, punching buttons, like just twitching with his face, like it feels real. Like Paul McGann again is just such a gifted actor in a small set. He and Emma Campbell Jones, and then Claire Higgins when she joins up on Karn. Like you've got three truly incredible actors that are bringing this to life. There's nothing like there feels like nothing secondhand or like lesser about any part of this production.
Yeah, no, and it's also tied together. It's I don't know what he would have done if he had Ed Eccleston.
I don't either. I mean, I can't. I really can't envision. And this is the thing. Like people always talk about like, oh well, was it planned from the start, or like talking about the Shooty era about how this is terrible because they weren't able to like it's supposed to be Ruby Sunday in season 2, and and so people just cannot get their head around the fact that accidents of fate happen. And the fact that they made a coherent narrative out of it at all is incredible. And the same sort of thing applies to the 50th anniversary. Like Moffat may have had an idea where
he would have told his story. I think he tells his story very well. And
yes.
And the idea that there's a doctor, that the doctor that was in the war, it kind of it does this thing, and what it does is it gives an out for the doctor.
Yes.
So he's never done it. That was just a bad personality, whatever your rationale is for why it is. But I think it helps the story.
Yes, it absolutely does.
I think the story has a different take. And I think it works perfectly. I do, even with the new one, and I thought it's like, well, why didn't you just make it McGann?
Yep.
Why wasn't it, if you couldn't get Eccleston, why didn't you just go back? Because we know that the war is somewhere in that period. Mm-hmm. But I think by having Hurt, one, it's Hurt, it's John Hurt, because you're going to get something special out of it. And then making sure that you write Paul in to show, because Moffat knew they're going to ask, where does he go?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show it. So there's not this he like
so not only do you give
wants a reason.
Yeah. So not only do you give Paul McGann like his own moment to shine, which apparently in the schedule was supposed to have been the day before the Day of the Doctor. But again, I just think like because of the accidents of fate, the fact that it was going to be leaked gave McGann his own week to shine in the spotlight, which is incredible. And I think you're 100% right. I think like by having Eccleston refuse to be in it, and having to rewrite the script, and having to include John Hurt at the end of the season in name of the Doctor, and then this is the other thing I realized rewatching this episode over the past week, is how much the Day of the Doctor is John Hurt's the War Doctor's story,
Oh
and how much
yeah.
it like focuses on that character. Like I had just it just it had gotten past me in the way that things like live in your memory, but like
There's
to give it to John Hurt, give the Time War its own discrete era, its own discrete doctor. It just makes all the sense in the world, because you
it,
can imagine whatever you want in your head, and then
it,
obviously Big Finish and all that kind of stuff, but like it doesn't do anything to affect the way you perceive McGann. It doesn't do anything to affect the way you perceive Eccleston. Like it keeps everything clean.
yeah, it does. And I think and let's talk Big Finish real quick.
Yep.
But it gets us 4 sets of Hurt doing the War Doctor,
Which is
and
incredible.
then who's the gentleman who plays him now?
It's Jonathan Carley.
So Jonathan
For the
Carley
young
plays him
War
now.
Doctor. Yep.
He's wonderful. That it's not John Hurt, and he's not just mimicking John Hurt. You know what I mean?
No.
He's just doing the accent and the graveliness,
Yep.
and it just sounds right. He's amazing, and we get all the time more stuff with Paul McGann.
Yep. It just opened up. It opened up all new avenues of storytelling, which is great.
And it's great. And because I think it's really good. I want to, before we get to this one.
Yeah.
I think I'm a fan of I like the 3 Doctors. I think that's a great anniversary special. 5 Doctors. It was great because it was the first New Who in forever, and we got to see it first in America. I'm not as in love with the script as some fans are, because there's some clunkers in there, and there's some, but it was fun. It was fun. It still didn't make it anything.
I encourage our listeners to go back, and I think that was maybe a year or so ago that we actually looked at the 5 Doctors. I think we did that for the anniversary last year.
I did, and I like it, but it's not my favorite. But Dimensions in Time is, I think, only can be loved by the Brits. I don't know. I mean, I know who the EastEnders are, and I'd watch them because my mother loved it. But I was like going, really? You want to make this canon? I prefer anything but that. But it's not my favorite. And then they did Big Finish has done some that were fun. They did some fun stuff during the 50th. They did some fun stuff during the 60th.
Yep.
The 40th.
The light at the end, the 50th anniversary Big Finish.
It was good.
That was really. I mean, I'm still tickled that not only we were talking about Paul McGann, but that Paul McGann, and we were mentioning Tom Baker before we started recording, but light at the end is that one story where you get interaction between Paul McGann and Tom Baker, which just as I remember, it's been a while since I listened to it, but I just remember the Big Finish fan reaction to their sequence together was just electric, because again, these are two, like, Paul McGann is just such a great actor, and to have him go toe to toe even for just a few minutes with Tom Baker was like was an absolute delight, an absolute treat.
Yeah, it's such a great moment. All these new things that expand the Doctor. There are more Doctors to come. I like that. Now that Tom's getting older, and he's pre-recorded a lot of stuff. I don't think they're recording with him anymore. I wouldn't think so. He's at 90 something. He looks very good for 90 something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he also looks extremely different 12 years on than he did in the Day of the Doctor. He's like very, I mean, he looked fine at the MBE, but like noticeably frailer, noticeably
shedding weight. I mean, that's natural. He just aging. 92. Good God, my
father. I think he's like 95.
I
think he's like 95 now.
Yeah, it's but they've done so much with him.
Yes.
But they've now the curator has another incarnation. He looks like 60, which is, if you're going to do it, let it be the Bakers.
And that's one of the other great thing is, even in subsequent years, subsequent showrunners, the whole RTD2 by generation thing, you can read that backwards into the curator and think that, the Tom Doctor that split off during the by generation is the curator. Yeah. So, I mean, I love that too.
That's a good one. I haven't had one of those nerdy talks with them. I haven't had someone else have the nerdy talk to what else could it be. So there it is.
Ross, that is what I'm here for.
That's a good one. I like, because by generation was kind of like, man, you're going to make a fucking problem here, dude. They're going to be thousands of them all over the place.
And I think that's great. I think it solves more problems than it causes.
Yeah. Oh, I always, but this one is, I went into this one, I knew it wouldn't be just, multi-Doctor stories are hard.
Yep.
And I've enjoyed, and they've already played with it where because Davison had met Tennant before this.
Tennant, yes, in Time Crash.
So they had kind of done it they etched Paul in the
The little
11th
notebook.
Doctor.
Yep.
Yep, because you see his face. That's the first time you see his face.
Well, you also see a sketch of his face in the
Oh,
the Human Nature Family of Blood two-parter
that's right.
in the little Journal of Impossible
Yeah,
Things or whatever it's called.
yeah, that's true. And let's get the one more thing on Night of the Doctor before, because I think
Yes.
is it made Big Finish companions canon.
Yep. And I want to say for the record, like people will say, oh, but he didn't mention Liv or Helen, which are my favorites. He makes a list and then he says friends, companions I've known. And I'm like, that covers everybody.
Yeah, you know what? One day they'll superimpose, like they'll cut to, they'll find some way to dub it, use AI to dub his voice and just add
Ugh.
names, or
I
just
mean,
do it as a
again,
bad dub with the
again,
wrong
it
voice.
works for me. It
It
worked. It
does.
covered. He says friends, companions I've known. I love that. And of course,
Yeah. Oh,
Kara's
it's
shout out to our friend Conrad Westmus, one of
yeah,
the sweetest and kindest guys in the world. Like, happy anniversary to Conrad. Also, like,
yeah.
a week ago, 12 years ago, like Paul McGann said
He
your name
became
on TV.
canon.
That's incredible. And Conrad, amazing guy.
um, but but all that led into this, and I really,
Yes.
when I started watching this, I think it I think it's pretty spot on tight. It's not, I don't see any fluff to it. It works like a TV movie. I got a real feeling because it doesn't have opening credits. It has a feet, it has, the little
Howl
her
around. Yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
on the mini bike, the
Yep.
little bike in that scooches into the TARDIS, all that show, him just sitting there. I love him. He is my favorite Doctor. And
Matt
him
Smith.
just
Yeah.
reading the book, the quantum book.
Yep. With a little TARDIS on the cover, it's a bit there are a few things in here that are a bit much,
Oh
but
yeah,
they're all in good humor and good
oh,
fun.
and then him getting and that and just the power shot or whatever you want to call it of
Yeah.
the TARDIS being flown over
Oh my
London
god,
underground. So it's really
it's really big. It's really over the top, but in a very like controlled way, if that
because
makes
it was
sense.
real.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
TARDIS was
Yeah.
that big. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
him hanging. There's a
No.
real quick moment where it's a dummy. Did
He's
you see it
dangling.
too? I hadn't caught it before. Where it's like, oh, wait a minute, that dummy when they're doing the close up is like his stuffing's all fucked up. It was like he was hanging crooked.
But no, you're 100% right. Like as opposed to some other sort of either specials or finales or whatever you want to call it, Stephen Moffat also, one thing we can say about the script in its totality, and it was something that I really noticed this time, is how balanced it is. How it like starts with one character or two characters is the Doctor and Clara, and it ends with two characters, the Doctor and Clara. Before you get to the little coda where he walks out and he's like talking about the future
Yeah.
and going the long way home. But like and it expands and you get like there's a lot of doubling of lines that are repeated at one stage and another through another character's mouth. Like it's very well like I had not noticed like until I started rewatching it for this recording how balanced, how well structured the script is as a script.
I agree, and because he can overcomplicate a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Moffat fan. I like
Yeah.
it. It's showy. It's the person who wanted to be an actor in me. I think his dialogue is fun for actors to do.
Yep.
But this one is like this is him doing what he does best, almost perfectly. There's a lot going on, and none of it is unnecessary.
Yep.
Because sometimes he'll write something and not, get himself stuck in. I mean, it's every writer has their tick, and I think he sometimes gets himself stuck in a corner.
Yeah, and again, I think one of the things that he did in this one again is the repetitions that happen, and they happen like in a scattered way until you get to the sort of epicenter, which is that confrontation, and we'll get there. When the Zygons and the humans have to come up with whatever the perfect peace plan, but like the lines begin to mirror themselves, like back to back as opposed to like spread out over time, because you get the Zygon saying you don't mind if I make my or Kate says you don't mind if I make myself comfortable, and the Zygon Kate says you don't mind if I do, like the lines like are repeated at that point, but throughout the rest of the episode if you watch it again you will hear lines that one comes up at the beginning and then there's an echo of it someone else says at the end. Like it's really it's just beautiful. And for me, like I want to talk about another thing that I noticed here, which is that the entire story, and again, we're just talking about balance and we're talking about the cleanliness, I think is what you're talking about. really
Yeah.
of the story. Like Moffat can overcomplicate. He can get
He can
messy.
be untidy. Then so
Yes,
this is a very tidy script. There's
and
no, it
yes,
all
and
works together.
correct. And the thing that, again, I just noticing it for the first time, really, for the three times I rewatched it to record this with you, is that the entire story, again, it is the War Doctor story. In as much as we start with Matt Smith and we end with Matt Smith, and he's the current Doctor. I mean, I get that, but like the other thing Moffat does is like he centers the War Doctor. He centers John Hurt's character, because the whole plot, the whole story, hinges on as much spectacle as there is in this, and bombast. There are also, the whole story again revolves around three really small, really quiet, really intimate scenes that are based around the War Doctor. So you get that one in the barn with the moment at the beginning.
Okay.
Then you get the one in the Tower of London where he's, quote, talking to himself. It's the three doctors together. And then right before the Zygon peace process, or while it's happening, he has a conversation with Clara where he makes up his mind what he's going to do. Like,
Yeah.
and
That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole scene, in the whole
I
thing.
had not noticed until this time that the story is the War Doctor story. Again,
Yeah,
even as
I
much as we
agree.
got, like, the 10th Doctor gets, stuff to do, the 11th Doctor, is the current Doctor, but this is, I mean, it is centering around the War Doctor and having to make that choice.
Yeah, I think it's great because I like when they want, but just I want to, before I forget, because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't mention
Please,
it,
please. Yeah,
how
yeah.
it starts in black and white
Mm-hmm.
with the original credits, and then
Yep.
it's a Bobby go by the Iron Foreman. Then they get to, and then it goes right to, this is the first time we know she works at Coal Hill School.
Yep.
Ian's name is on the cover, some fan wanky stuff, folks. But
Yes.
I was like, but I like how it goes into that. You get the Doctor and Clara's adventure starting.
Yes. Yeah.
Then
Sorry I jumped ahead. I just
no,
like
no,
wanted
no.
to.
Yeah, but I kind of want to talk about
We'll
this
get back
because
to it.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
kind of, it is they
Yep.
all had their story.
Yep.
So the first section to get it up
Yes.
is
Yeah. Of
Clara and the
course.
Doctor are in modern day Earth and they're summoned.
Yep.
Then we get to see the War Doctor story,
Yep.
and at some point they interject. You see the painting of Elizabeth and the
The
10th
10th
Doctor,
Doctor. Yep.
and then we get their story.
Yep.
And then it gets to the point to where they all go together. So it's very balanced.
Yep.
Because
And even with the timing,
Tennant gets to do what Tennant did. It was
yes.
like it was the energy changed. There was the dialogue was a little more zippy.
Mm-hmm.
The woman playing Queen Elizabeth from Gavin and Stacey,
Joanna Page.
she's so good in it.
And I think she's
good.
also from what's the one everyone likes to watch at Christmas that I hate, with the guy from the zombie show. Not Notting Hill. What's it called? It's the one that everyone likes to watch at Christmas time.
Love Actually.
Love Actually. There you go. Keira Knightley. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's in that one too.
Okay, is he?
Or she?
Okay.
No, she is in that. Sorry, Joanna.
Oh no,
Page.
that's right. She's the nude with
exactly with Martin Freeman.
With Martin Freeman.
That would be hilarious if it was Morgan Freeman. I'd watch that too.
No, I don't need that visual right now.
Yes, Joanna Page is Queen Elizabeth.
She's great, and we get it, and you get it's Moffat. Having written for both him and Davies,
Yes.
he had a very Davies thing, and then a very him thing.
But yeah, before you go on, before you go on though, the David Tennant, I definitely want to talk about that too. And maybe we should have like come up with a structure for this, but we're gonna be bouncing around. It's fine. I love it. But like David Tennant, one of the things that I feel like Moffat does in this episode also, and we sort of saw in subsequent eras, like Chibnall either redressing or responding to things that happened in the Moffat and the Davis era. I think in RTD2, when he's bringing in the Timeless Children kind of arc, like he is also responding to what went before him. And I think that Moffat really in Day of the Doctor is sort of like taking the piss out of the David Tennant Doctor, like because
he turns it up
because the Tennant Doctor is such a buffoon at times. Like you get he accuses of Queen Elizabeth of being a Zygon twice, and it's not a Zygon. He makes the whole speech to the rabbit in the forest. Like he's so over the top. Like I feel like that there's definitely a way in which Moffat is getting his jollies sort of making fun of the David Tennant Doctor. Like he is the butt of more jokes than anyone else in this story.
It is, and it deserves it. It's kind of like the second Doctor and the three Doctors. He's a little exaggerated version of himself because he's kind of having to. Well, you've got two giant egos,
Yes.
but this is. I mean, I don't think Tennant has ego.
No.
You know
Oh,
what I
no, no,
mean?
no, no.
And I don't think
No,
Matt
not
Smith
at
does
all.
either. So the
Yep.
stuff was fun. I just like and how they get it all to.
And that's what makes it work is that Tennant is such a good sport about it. Like he
Oh,
loves
he
it. He
understands.
obviously loves it.
He understands exactly because it got really like that. That hit, a lot of that came from his performance, and they just added to it. You're
Yep.
strutting around. We might as
Yep.
well say something about it.
Yes.
But I liked it, and I liked we see the general, we see what's going on
Yep.
Gallifrey in the past, and I
I
love
also
that.
want to say real quick before you go on the Gallifrey stuff that the guy who's not the general, the other guy,
Yeah,
like for some reason this time watching it through, I'm like, I really wish that was the guy from Red Dwarf. Like
doesn't I thought it
it
was the
looks
first
like
time
him.
for
I
like a
thought it was
second.
too.
I
And
was
I'm
like,
like,
wait a
if
minute,
this that
he's
should have
too
been
young,
Craig.
though.
It should have been Craig Charles. How
Oh,
awesome would that
God.
have been?
I would have loved it.
Okay, I'm
Just
sorry to
not
interrupt.
tell people, but no, but I liked it. I liked the stuff on Gallifrey looked
Yep.
and spaceships looked great, and this was done for 3D TV.
Yep.
Which I've never
I
been
still
to.
haven't seen. Yeah.
And I don't like.
I don't really
I have
care.
no urge to see 3D. I think it would give me a headache. But it's so good, and you get to see about him. It's the no more stuff, the painting, which is even on a Blu-ray when she gets close to it, it's a really good effect.
Yep, the effect is really cool. Yep,
it works
even without 3D. Yeah, you're right.
And so I love seeing him. And when I heard Billy Piper was going to be in it, I was kind of like, "What the fuck?"
Yep, that's another thing we're going to need to talk about.
I don't want to. Her, I just not to say that she's not great and always good for the show. It's you know what I mean. But I was just thinking, it's why are we bringing Rose back? And then when she's the moment, and she gets to play a totally different character.
Yep, that is again the thing
and that is brilliance, and she is so fucking good. They are so good together.
Ross, absolutely. That's 100%, 1,000% what I was just gonna say. Like I was really bowled over this time because I had exactly the same sort of negative biases and all that kind of stuff. And that stuff had just still lived in my head. Like even as much as I love Day of the Doctor, until this time watching, I was like, that's really. And again, when I was talking earlier about the three sort of scenes that are the pillars of the episode, that first one with and of course Billy Piper is there for all three of those. Like the one where she's sitting with John Hurt in the barn, the three doctors in the Tower of London, and then with Clara at the end, she's there in the background.
She is in the tower.
Yep. So the thing is, like, Billy Piper again, that first sequence may be for me the most powerful one in the episode because they play a little bit of the Rose theme in the background that's just sort of worked in, which is lovely. But you're right, she plays it to see Billy Piper again, an actor of that caliber, the way that she sparks with John Hurt, and the fact that they're both wearing sort of distressed. I mean, I didn't even notice like how distressed John Hurt's coat is. Like it like the leather is peeled and worn, and he feels so just tired, so over it. And again, his interactions with Billy Piper, like that scene is just, it's electric watching them act together. Yeah,
she's so playful.
Yep.
And
I like such a different character to Rose.
Folks that just scared the shit, dropped my phone. Both cats went flying. But I love that bit. I love that she is so good and it's so different. I like the moment.
Yep.
The idea, it's the last one, the big red button joke, and then when they come back, look, you wanted a big red button.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's the balance that I'm talking about in the script. Like he'll bring up a line at one point and then pay it off with a repetition of the line later, and it happens here at the beginning too with Billy Piper, where the scene before, like you were just talking about the Gallifrey sequence, the general says, how can you use and this is my least favorite line, I think it's the clunkiest line in the 50th anniversary. He says, how can you use a weapon of ultimate mass destruction? I'm like, that's too many words. Either just say ultimate destruction or mass, like we get the point. Like you're invoking like Bush era politics. Like I get it.
Well, it's also that sci-fi thing is you have to say something in science ways, and
it's so ludicrous. Yeah. It's so ludicrous. But anyways, he says when it can sit in judgment upon you, and then the very next scene is her sitting in judgment on him. Like that is that again. It just like it's so beautifully set up.
And I like it because it's a weapon that tries to talk you out of using it.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
sentient. I
Yep.
am the ultimate thing.
Self-aware. Yep.
So I'm your last because I don't know. It's very cool because we all have a conscience. So does the machine. So the machine's going to be your conscience and
Yep.
go, really, do you want to use me? And
Yep.
talk you out of it. And I love that.
And
And
that's
she's very playful in it too. It's
yes.
not like I am if it was a Star Trek, it would be
It would be
very,
much more portentous. Yep.
yeah. But this is like, no. I'm going to show you what you need to see. It's very Dickens.
Yep. And it's in a way that he can understand because she even mocks him about it and says, stuck between a girl and a box. That's the story of your life, doctor. Like she tells him that she's been inside his head. So obviously, I feel like that's one of the things about the moment is that it's going to choose a way to talk to you that will reach you.
And hence she
Uh,
to pull something is from his future. She goes, this is from your past,
or
future. Oh,
from
I
whatever
get
it is.
confused. And she blows him off. It's like, whatever.
And
And
that
that
I feel
brings
like
up,
it has to be an allusion to the fact that it was going to be Eccleston in the first
yeah.
place,
Oh, yeah. And
which is great also because you can work
imagine
the
that
fact that
if it's
Moffat can
Eccleston
work.
and he's seeing someone he hasn't met yet, and then, oh, wait a minute. That's why he
And
sticks
that's
with
the
you.
thing is
You've written it right in.
you can imagine that, which is
Yeah.
incredible. Like Stephen Moffat can work in what ifs about Doctor Who into his script, and like it works.
I think he was very good at that for most of the time there, but to kind of like add things to the mythos without,
Yep.
I mean, the War Doctor is a big change, but I think it's one that's been taken,
Very
it's been
judiciously.
embraced
Yep.
in a lot of ways. I mean,
Yep.
some, there are people who watch a show and don't watch Big Finish and they go, yeah, he's great in that one story. It was cool. But, that for people like you and me who do the other media,
Yep.
it's
It's
given us
even
a
richer.
lot.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's, and it's something I think Big Finish has been very careful in its, it really feels like it's a follow up to this.
Yep.
So, but
The
yeah,
other
I
thing
like,
I was
go
going to say,
ahead.
the
Go
other
ahead.
thing about the conscience thing is that one of the other sort of through lines of the story that again, I don't think I really noticed it until now. Like, you get caught up 10, 12 years ago with the spectacle of it and,
Yeah.
the three doctors and Zygons and like it looks beautiful and like it's just such a celebration. But like, again, like coming back to it this time, that idea of, yeah, you have these discussions with yourself, right? About like, what is the right thing to do in a very sort of like, strip away all the sci-fi stuff. Like, what is the Day of the Doctor about? It's about making big choices, like, and the fact that his conscience, like that you have an external sort of person like Billy Piper playing his conscience sort of gestures toward what the rest of the story is like,
Yeah.
that yes, he has to make this choice, but you can't, like, it is one of the great things again about the second primary sequence for me in the Tower of London is that he is talking to other versions of himself. Like, that looks towards the future when the Matt Smith Doctor is in his regeneration in the time of the Doctor, and he has that soliloquy at the end where he says, you're different people all through your life, but you always want to remember, he says, I always will remember when the Doctor was me. But he talks about the fact that you are different people through the
Yeah.
different parts of your life. Like for me this year, like there was a time of this year where, I was, just on a really silly, fatuous level. Like, I had grits for breakfast every morning with a flip egg on top of it. And then there was times of the year where I didn't have breakfast at all. Like, the things that you do, the habits you get into make you who you are for that period of your
Yeah.
life. And so to
Yeah.
have three versions of yourself is just sort of like it's an externalized way of saying, that you're talking to what you remember about or what you didn't like about various parts of yourself. But the
Oh
other
my
part of
God.
this,
Yeah.
but the other part of the story that, again, realizing it, seeing it really for the first time is that Billy Piper, that Clara, like that you need other people to bounce ideas off of. Like, that you can't ultimately, or you shouldn't ultimately make decisions by yourself.
Yeah.
It's a community,
It's,
it's like a found family, like those kinds of things, like that.
yeah. And I like
You
how they
need
kind of,
interlocutors. I'm sorry, go
yeah.
ahead, Ross.
So, I mean, no, but I think to your point, I agree with you on all you just said. And because also this story takes time for these three doctors to develop a relationship and a
Yep.
specific kind of relationship. I love the scenes when they're together. where he's like, are you his companions? They just get younger. Say granddad in sand shoes. Granddad, they're not sands. Yes, they are. Why you keep pointing at the screwdrivers? You could
Assemble a cabinet at them.
Shelf at them. I loved it. Because it was hysterical. Oh,
Yep.
but there's the Fez joke. I kept
Yes.
rewinding the Fez joke. One day you'll be able to walk by Fez. Not gonna
Not
happen.
gonna happen.
I've loved him. His doctor is so good. And
Matt
there are a
Smith, you
couple
mean?
times in this where you get close to him and it's like, I really get the alienness of him.
Yeah, the Matt Smith doctor you're talking about.
Yeah, in this one he has moments of that, and
Yep.
But the three of them together are great because we talk about when he's asking about, do you know how many I killed?
Yep.
And they're not going to answer him.
Yep.
And then I forget what Davies has said. He doesn't say anything.
Oh, the David Tennant doctor.
Does he give the number? Wait a minute, I'm confused.
David Tennant does. He's like, yeah, it was 2.47 billion or something like that.
Yeah, and then Matt Smith's is, you know that there are different stages of the grief. He's looking for that. Yep. How has it affected me? Yep. And this one's counted them.
Yep.
And then this one has gotten over it.
And that's what that's how the moment frames it to the war doctor. He's like, this is the man that sorry, the man. It's hard to talk about. It's like this is the man that forgets, or the man that regrets, and the man that forgets.
Yeah.
Which is, again, it's extraordinary. Again, because one of the things about that particular sequence in the Tower of London is that Matt Smith doctor, as weird and as funny and as alien as he is and can be, there's that moment where he starts laughing, and the David Tennant doctor is like, did I miss something? Did I say a funny thing? And Matt Smith is like, I just realized this is what I'm like when I'm alone. And I'm like, I don't know about you. I do that kind of stuff all the time. Like, I don't know about everyone, our listeners or whatever, but like, I've got tons of regrets, millions of things that I could have done.
Oh God, no. People go, do you
and
have
I
any
will,
regrets?
I will definitely like argue with myself and prevent myself from taking any kind of action in the present because I'm so torn about the various possibilities of what could be. And like, to see that enacted on the screen is, when you think about it, it's really incredible to like actually have and that's the thing, what you said is exactly right. Like, they do have to take the time to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And each of them can only be what they are in that moment. They can only be who they are. And so they have to get to know each other. They have to talk to each other. And
then when he sees there's his future and they give that look, they're like, what and when they're in there, it's like, I've never seen it. And I can't say, but the only way I could describe it is dread.
Yeah,
like,
that's when they meet in the forest. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's what. So did I do it? I mean, because he hasn't decided to do it. So there's that thing. Should I do it? Why I'm going to do it? And
oh no, you're right. You're right. That is in the tower, because again, like, talk about parallels and mirrorings. Like, you get the sequence of them in the forest where it's fun and they've get together, and then you get the sequence of the three of them together in the tower, and it's not fucking Ross.
Where the doctor beats up on himself.
Yep, that is not fun.
Yeah. It's such a good moment because it leads to that final one you talked about between Claire and him.
Yeah.
Because there was this whole thing in fandom going through. I know me and Victoria reacted to it a lot, which was the doctor's a pacifist. He would never do anything that's harm. It's like,
no.
You need to get a dictionary. Pacifist means they cannot do anything by action or inaction.
That's the fandom. Ross, the pacifist doctor is the fandom version of socialism in the US. Like, no one knows what the fuck it means.
Yeah, I know.
But go ahead.
No, I forgot.
I almost train of thought
is that the doctor. There are times where you have to make a decision that causes the best decision will cause harm. Yep. I mean, not billions dying like in real life, but there are tough decisions humans have to do and it's a sacrifice. You know what I mean? Is that when he makes that decision to go back, he's chosen to make a sacrifice, his soul, a little bit of his soul, to say, because I don't, these two versions of me won't exist unless I make that decision.
And I think we've maybe talked about this before, or at least I think I've mentioned it on other podcasts, that idea of, the doctor is either an idealist or a pacifist, when what the doctor is a pragmatist. Like, he does what he has to do for what he imagines to be the best possible scenario. Like, that is what the doctor is. Yeah. That is what he has to do that.
And sometimes that has
consequences.
Bad consequences.
Yep.
I think, and Moffat believes in truth, because he even put the, truth or consequences is a real town
in the Zygon 2-parter. Yep.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? Because it's talking about consequences.
Yep.
Because this is the beginning of that consequence, is the peace deal.
Yep.
Made here, that 2 years later.
Which, again, it's because of convenience. Like, there probably could have been other ways he could have solved that, but, like, in the moment, as it were, this was the most expedient solution.
Yeah. I'm going to pause here because I want to think before we go on. Because we're talking about really there is a monster and a villain in this story, which is the Zygons, which we had not seen.
I mean, technically, that's the enemy for this. I think that the real,
but they're in the background. That's what I like about the story.
Yep.
Is the adventure is happening around is less important.
Yes,
but you have to give them an adventure and a bad guy, because then they're going to go off against the real bad guy, the Daleks and the Time Lords ish.
Yep. Well, for me, like, the real bad guy here is himself. Like, the doctor is, he has to come to terms. And we're gonna have to talk about this, Ross, because I want to know what your thought is before we go any further, because we're at a sort of crucial moment, which is, again, I keep saying the moment. It's totally appropriate because this whole thing is about that moment. But, like, for me, I want to know what you think, because I know that there was a lot of discussion in the aftermath of the Day of the Doctor that this rewrote what happened, so that the Ninth Doctor didn't kill all the Daleks and the Time Lords. For me, for my money, he says, the War Doctor at the end says, this time. So for me, everything did happen the way we saw it. And when the 11th Doctor, when he sees the time swirling, and he's like, oh, I think this is where I come in, and he meets the 10th Doctor right there in the forest, and the doctor and the David Tennant Doctor's like, well, you were me. Why don't you remember any of this? And for me, it's because this is happening right now. Like, this has not happened before. Like, what happened before happened. The Ninth Doctor, or the War Doctor, pushed the button. The Daleks and the Time Lords went up. The Ninth Doctor had all his regrets and trauma and PTSD and all the stuff that people love to talk about. When we get to the 11th Doctor, that is when this happens.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what you think about that, because that's the way I have thought about it. Is
Moffat, this was good time travel writing for me, because sometimes people are lazy. I like time travel stories, is that it always happened.
Yes.
He just doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
Because they say that I'm not going to remember this. No, you're not. So what really happened is the Doctor, he regenerates. He goes, oh, I just killed everybody, because he doesn't remember meeting his two next future selves. It both happened. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's just they can't remember it that way. But he made the choice to do it, and that's part of it. That he was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because, and then why the Ninth Doctor is so traumatized, and why the 10th Doctor is still traumatized by it.
And I can 100% respect that reading of it. Like I say,
so I think they both work.
Because for me, like, both of them happened. Like, we had the entire, like, I firmly believe that the moment, right, when when Billie Piper appears in the barn, like, there's a moment where I didn't even notice this, Ross. I never ever noticed this. And it's really, for some reason, it's like this stupid little detail, but it really moved me this time. If you go back and watch when he walks into the barn, right, with the moment for the first time, the camera pans down to the ground. And, this whole place is just dirt and dust. Like, he's walking through a desert, more or less. But in this barn, like, you look around and there are farm implements. There's like a tiller or some kind of like a rake or hoe sort of thing. So, like, there has been at some point vegetation around here, but, like, the moment for me, when he walks in, the camera pans down to the ground and you see 2 or 3 green fern leaves growing out of all this dust. And for me, that is the sort of like the iconography, the image, the symbol that growth here is possible, because it's
Yes.
the only green, like it's only half a second, but like when he opens the door, you see there are a couple of green leaves growing out of the ground. It reminds me of that Tupac book of poetry, a rose that grew from concrete. But like I mean rose. So but the point being that for me, again, I feel like the moment goes both ways, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like for me, there was a scenario where he met, like, the moment came out of the box one way or the other, the rose, whatever, and he pushed the button.
Yeah.
But that this time, when the 11th Doctor becomes part of the narrative, uh, uh, that is what allows it to be rewritten. But again, like for me, both
Well,
readings work. Both readings
yeah,
work.
because in mine was that the reason that
Yeah. No, I
they
totally
could
get it.
what they could when the 10th Doctor goes, this we should not be allowed to be here. It's time
Yep.
locked. It's not
Yep.
time locked to you because you're supposed to be here.
Because
You
you
just
are
don't
here. Yep.
remember. You don't
Yep.
remember being here
Yep.
because it's.
And I get it. And I feel like both readings 100% work.
I thought in the modern era where they brought back somebody is that they adjust to the more older one. So
Yep.
that's why Davison's looks old, aged.
Yep.
You're kind of tiered. Like when they're in the TARDIS and it pops from the three each doctor's
Desktop
control
team.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love him. I love the round things.
Yeah.
That central console looked really good in that all
It
white
did.
set. It
Yes,
did.
it
It looked
did.
really good. Like, oh, that's why it started morphing after that. That makes sense. But they tie that all together.
Yep.
And it could be either way. And I
Yep.
think, and that's why I think Moffat does it. People will he's like, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah,
I
that's why
don't
canon,
know.
again, it doesn't
I
make any, it
because
doesn't make any difference.
basically he goes,
He's
I'm
making it up as he
doing
goes
it.
along. Yep.
I'll do some, I need them to be there at the same time. We're just going to make excuses,
Yep.
yes, because it was like, oh, you can never meet yourself. Well, that's a good gimmick for a special. So we're going to have you meet yourself. But it is, it's got the adventure. It's got the threat when it's the Zygons. Back to the Zygons. Everybody was waiting for them. I think they look when they're still.
Yep.
And they're the monster running around talking.
Yep.
I think they're fine.
Yep.
I think they're great. It's a good costume. The spitting of petroleum jelly and some of that.
That's kind of gross.
It was, I don't know if it's necessary.
Hey,
but
I don't know if it's totally necessary, but it's still fun. It's kind of cool.
It is. But I like it that the Zygon is the horse.
Yep.
And then when Kate walks in and I've seen it so many times when she does this, like the head.
Yes. The little twitch when they go to look at the vortex manipulator. Yes. It's already Zygon Kate. Yes, I love that.
My God, I love it. And I also like that the Zygons were just under those cloths.
Which we also remember, which makes it even funnier, I feel like, in the Five-ish Doctors reboot,
that
they're also doctors there.
They're hiding so they don't get in trouble. I love that. My favorite thing is that John Barrowman says he's straight.
Oh my God, it's so outrageous.
It was so inappropriate.
It's so outrageous.
But no,
that's what we'll do for next year. We'll do the Five-ish Doctors reboot.
Oh, I love that one. So I mean, but see, this is Kate and Clara have something to do because they're separated from the doctors for a good chunk. I love the bulletin board.
Yep. Even Osgood gets stuff to do. Like,
oh my God,
she seems really ineffectual at the very, very start, where she feels like a little bit like overwhelmed. But as the story goes on, I really love the way that the Osgood character develops, even just over the course of day. Again, like this is it's such a dense script. Everyone gets something to do.
Yeah, and the whole thing about them making them forget and have to talk.
Yep.
And the delivery was pure Davies Moffat energy, boom. And then the camera turns and we get that scene with John Hurt and Clara.
Yep.
And that is my favorite scene in this. And it has been since I saw it. One, she is such a good actress.
Jenna Coleman. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good because she's asking the questions.
I have never understood in my entire life, and I do not think I ever will, the hate for Clara. I just do not get it. I don't understand it. Like, I cannot fathom why people.
No, she's a really good companion. I think
really phenomenal.
she's better with Capaldi than she is with Matt.
but again,
I think in some, but I still like her with Matt.
seeing her go with I would have like she gets a very very limited amount of time with David Tennant, but like she's good with Tennant, she's good with Smith, she's great with John Hurt. Like in this episode, I feel like she is all purpose. Like she hits with every like she has chemistry with every single
Yes,
doctor.
she
I
does.
love it. I love it.
Yeah. And this scene is so good where she goes, when she just sits down, we haven't actually had time to meet yet. And he goes, I
Yep.
look forward to it. And it's such a fucking good line. It is so, and Hurt understands, I don't know how much Doctor Who he knew. Probably
He
not a
didn't know any of
lot.
it. Yep.
He
But
didn't know
what
any of
I
it, but
understand the
he
background is
understood
that his apparently it was his wife who when they said they offered him the role through his agent, she was just like, yeah, you can't not do this.
They're asking you to be the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. They're asking you to be the doctor.
Yep.
You're not hearing the offer. But
Yep.
he's so good, and that her talking about, and she goes, You're younger. I can see because my doctor talks about the day he did this.
Yep.
And I see that you haven't because I see it in your eyes. They're younger.
Yep. And she has a similar conversation with the Matt Smith doctor. Again, there's that balancing and mirroring because she says that she can see it in his eyes, like to Matt Smith earlier.
Yeah, it's just wonderful. And then
there's a real delicacy again to the way that she is interacting with, because she is sort of treating it's odd. It's not condescending, but she's sort of treating him tenderly, like you would talk to a child that you loved.
Yeah, I think she also knows that the trauma's coming.
Yep.
And
yep.
she being like, I'm human, you guys are the time travel people. What do you mean we can't change that?
Yep.
Because when they all land in the barn again, she's still the conscious. We only have the one companion. She asks the question.
Yep. And that's
it's her asking the question that makes Matt, who has few, he now knows what the other two doctors have thought. He knows what every other doctor's thought.
And that's the genius part, is that he is the current doctor. So ultimately, like he is
comes
the one
up
who
with
is
the idea.
Yes. Which
and they just guess it.
It
so takes
good.
them longer to
clever.
Get it. Yep. Whoa, because they kind of get it in order. Yep. Like Davey, Matt goes, this is my plan. And then all of a sudden, Tennant figures it out a little bit, like a second later, and then Hurt. They do it, boom, boom, boom.
Because that's the other thing, Ross, is that the doctor, the war doctor, right? John Hurt tells, when he's talked to Clara, which is what we're just talking about, he's like, okay, I get it. And he says, it's time for me to grow up. And then he turns to the moment and says, I'm ready. And that's when they go. But he's made the wrong choice. He's made the wrong choice again. Like he has decided to push the button, which is like, he's seen all this stuff and he still makes the wrong choice. So you're right. You're 100% right. And I didn't even get that until this time too, that it's Clara. It's Clara's voice.
Clara's the voice
of reason.
She's the voice of reason. How can you, because they're all going, we can't do this. This should be time locked. They're having excuses.
Yes, because he's still talking to himself.
He still hasn't made a decision. Yeah.
So it's incredible again that Clara, and again, I think the fandom completely undervalues her, because as influential as Billie Piper is as the moment on the John Hurt character, it's Clara who ultimately pushes, like gets them to like to step down, to like disarm the weapon, And again, it's like it's so important to have another perspective, because again, he is really, they're sitting there like making like you were saying about portentous like talk, like what we do in the name of Gallifrey, and to save millions and billions of people, and they're about to push the fucking button. They're about to destroy everything. Like,
well, I like to is.
So they need another. When
she asks them, you get those words from Terrence Dix.
Yep. Never cruel or cowardly.
And which is a great motto to go through, and that's really shows you what the type of, don't be cowardly. Meaning sometimes you're going to have to be brave and do things that are bigger than you. That's the great thing is that mantra.
Yep, and that's the great thing is that, or the doctor's mantra. Yeah. That'd be great if it was the Daleks' mantra. But that's the incredible thing, is that Clara gets it. Clara understands Doctor Who, and like she has to remind him what Doctor Who is about.
You can do all these things. You've not done anything crazier than this. Because when he goes, then it goes, you want to change our own timeline? And she goes, you're always changing your own timeline. She's like, will you just
Like
shut up?
we do this every episode.
We do. Don't, hey, David, don't you know who's running the show now? It's Moffat, man. He's leaning into this stuff. He's so much so that he's tweaking people. It's just, it is very timey-wimey. This is one of his more timey-wimey ones, but
It is, but it's still like, again, it's clear
I
enough
believe
that
it this time.
anyone could watch this who had never seen Doctor Who and get it.
Yeah. Oh,
like
he made it very inviting to the casual viewer.
And I noticed that again for the first time, really this time, or in a different way, that like this is such a welcoming and inviting, and I feel like that is also involved in the various repetitions, because you're constantly reminding the crowd of something that, you know, in a way that isn't heavy-handed, in a way that isn't sort of like, let's step back and give you some exposition. It all works. And again, I feel like Clara, it's just she's such a crucial part of this equation, because she is the one who reminds them what Doctor Who is about.
Yeah. I really love her. I really love her. I mean, I think Jenna Coleman is such a good companion. And that what I like it is they make tweaks to her, that she's a teacher.
Yeah.
And the great line Capaldi has in their second story together, he goes, she's my care, so I don't have to.
Into the Dalek. And I was going to say, like, that's the other thing that the Day of the Doctor, you know, when you see the Capaldi eyebrows at the end, like, it's also, you know, I don't know where Moffat was in the scripting or casting process, or where any of that stuff was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like, it's because I mean, I think there was only Time of the Doctor after this, and then he regenerated, so maybe he already knew.
Yeah, he knew. He knew at that point.
Oh, that's right, because Capaldi's in the episode. But like, in terms of the scripting and stuff like that, because that is it's such a huge part of that first season. And again, it's one that I feel like people generally have problems with, which I don't understand, because the whole "Am I a good man?" arc, like, it follows directly out of this. It's set up in the first line of the script, where Clara is reading from Marcus Aurelius, and she's like, do not talk anymore about what it is to be a good man, just be one. Like, that's so important, because it sets up Capaldi.
Oh my God. Which I think that's what I love about his era, is that art. And he's great in the first season, but the second and third season, he's just off the chain. And it's incredible. And I think, you know, and kind of glad for Moffat, because it's a very different voice he picked. You know what I mean? He went, I'm just going to be, I'm going to have to write for it had to have been a huge leap.
Yep. And
it's because he is very different than his three predecessors.
Yes. And I feel like Matt Smith really sets that up too, here in the Name of the Doctor and in the Day of the Doctor, because, you know, he's saying here in this episode, like, you know, they say, you know, be a doctor. And he's like, well, I'm not sure who that is anymore. You know, so like, one of the things that is also meta about that is that people talk about, oh, you know, now you've got like 15 years of lore that you've set up, and you have to write yourself into corners about, like, how do we explain the Time War? How do we talk about the Ninth Doctor? Like, all this kind of stuff. And that, I feel like, is what that is sort of gesturing towards. So like, it feels like it's super ripe at the end of the 11th Doctor era to set up the next Doctor, to say, what is Doctor Who? What is Doctor Who? Like, is he a good, like, because of these things we've been talking about, where he has to make expedient choices, like, you have to re-examine that. And I feel like, you know, for all that people sort of decry or talk about, like, how viewing figures went down, like, anyone cares. Like, we have Doctor Who, like, we have that era. That era exists. And any, like, whether you deal with it or not,
show
like,
crests, you know what I mean? The show was on.
Popularity. Who cares about how popular it is? It's foolishness.
It is. It's insanity. Because this one was so. This is this is, of all the specials and all the finales, this is the, like, anniversary specials.
Yeah.
And then you, like, you know, the Time and the Doctor, whatever the next one is.
Yeah.
Because that's on the anniversary day.
Yeah.
Which I like, but you know, this one is so there's no extraneous stuff.
Yeah.
Everything is very planned out, like you said, the repeated beats that you have in this hour and 19 minutes.
It's so,
you've got different things.
Dense.
There's the Clara with the Zygon storyline. That's actually action. That's moving action. You know, Osgood.
Yep.
she gets the scenes, it's
with
not like
Missy.
she just leaves and comes back and she's a Zygon. You see
Yep.
her figuring it out and going, uh-oh.
Yep.
She's the one
And
that goes, why is there dust on the floor?
yes, well, that's the other thing. Like I always thought that Osgood scene where the Osgoods seem to figure out which of them is the Zygon. But
That I really like too. That is very, that's a,
rewatching it this time, the Zygon says when she first meets the Osgood, when the two Osgoods first meet, she says,
Mhm.
"I always hate getting one with a defect." So like apparently whatever like Osgood's asthma, the Zygon has it too. So I feel like that doesn't tell you who the Zygon is.
Oh,
I
okay. I
Because she
kind of
says
did
that
the
in the
math in
beginning,
my
like
head this last time and
she
went,
says,
okay.
I need you to give me the inhaler. I always hate getting one with a defect. So
So
like
they both
whatever
have it.
happened, like yes,
So, because I always took is we know
that's what I thought too. But like
that
yeah, that's
they
what I
know
thought
which one's
too.
which, but which doesn't mean we know because they're
Yes,
going to keep it quiet. We won't tell
yes,
them that we figured out which one of us is it because we don't want to die
yeah,
and
yeah,
we'll just be quiet. And they both
yep,
have kind of like Osgood's. Oh, this is a better remedy. So we're
yep,
going to stay here and shut up.
yep,
Let's hope they don't get us killed.
yep.
I liked it.
Which is incredible.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yep.
Um,
And I've
I
heard
just think
people on
this.
other podcasts like complain about like, oh well, I should have gone back and watched Day of the Doctor if we were going to talk about Zygon two parters. Like, I don't understand why I have to like know lore. And I'm like, you're Doctor Who fans. Are you complaining about watching Doctor Who? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, because it is all this stuff is set up in the Day of the Doctor for the next season, and like it's really
Well, I
amazing.
mean, he may have had Matt, and
Yep.
Claire going out in the next season because
Yep.
he's just changed that do some change ups. He probably was he had scripts ahead. He'll tweak it because once it's like you can. I think I will say something about all the people who have played the Doctor in modern Who.
Yes.
They all really hit. They are their character the first moment they speak.
Yep.
I don't think Capaldi's is as much. But I think that's on purpose because of the change. Am I a good man? He's a little more standoffish.
I mean, I get that perspective, but for me, like the asking makes him the Doctor. Like I feel like that is
Really?
yeah, I feel
Okay.
like that like for him that is the way he expresses his doctorness is by wondering and growing that way. Like I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
because most of these other guys like, like you say they're the doctor from the first moment, but like a lot of that sort of that self-confidence and bluster, like they sort of like bumble their way through the universe, like sort of stumble into a situation and sort of do the best they can, whereas I feel like Capaldi is his doctor, like it is a sort of a new way, like when Matt Smith at the end says like where am I going, where I've always been going, home, the long way around. But like a lot of people are like, oh, but he found Gallifrey like the next season, like what kind of a quest is that? And I'm like, it's not what he's talking about. For me, he's talking about like
That's his life
he's
in
like trying,
general.
yeah,
That's
find
yeah. He
himself
said
to find
it's not
himself,
about
like
it's
yeah,
not a literal thing. He's talking about in my life.
yep,
I'm just I'm in a constant state
of
of going home the long way round.
and for me that is that quest of self-discovery. And like when Matt Smith,
Mhm.
when he appears in the 11th hour and he tells Amy, Baby Pond, like she's like, you're weird, and he's like, what, because he wants to eat like beans and like fish custard and whatever, and he's
There's
like,
some people.
but he literally says, new mouth, new rules. And I feel like that is something that always applies to those different phases of your life, is that you always have an opportunity to redefine yourself,
Yeah,
and to do that requires questioning, requires like exploration, requires bumbling through things, like, and if you're lucky, then you end up in a scenario like Capaldi where you get to like literally ask yourself, who do I want to be?
yeah.
You know,
I do. It's a nice. I kind of in some way wish this had been the last. I
I
do
was
like
about to say the same thing. I sort of wish Matt Smith had regenerated at the
I
end of
mean,
this
not as
episode.
much. There is aspects of that story. There are only bits and pieces. There overall, it's kind of clunky to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
The Christmas one.
Oh, Time of the Doctor. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's just a little bit because I do like the head being a companion.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry,
Handles.
Handles. His
I
name
feel
is
like that's set up in here too, because you get
You go by
the
that. You saw that camera
the
shot. There's that head right there.
well,
Is
there's
that?
that, but there's also when he gets the fez, there's a painting behind them which looks sort of like the painting. And I wish I had done more research on the actual art that is in the gallery. But there's a painting that I could tell this time. I don't know why I never noticed it before, behind them in that sequence, which looks like sort of Liberty crossing the Delaware or Liberty leading the people. I can't remember which classic painting it reminds me of, but if you look carefully, it's Cybermen like that are like draped over the
Oh, is
boat.
it the Washington crossing the Delaware?
That's the painting or whatever
Okay.
that painting is. If you look at it closely, it's Cybermen.
Fuck, man, I'm gonna have to go back and freeze frame that because that's funny. I love the
I know. I
Cybermen.
never noticed that before.
This would have been a great one, but it would have been too
Yes.
sad. It's kind of
Yep.
like the Tenet two-part finale for him. It's like they
Yep.
got to this point where stop killing him on Christmas Day.
Yep.
Like,
It got really morose. Yeah.
it
got
got
really
for a while.
emo.
It was like, God, man, it's just everybody. We're gonna cry because someone's losing their doctor, and
Yep.
it's just why don't it gets a bit much.
Yeah. And
But this
especially
one,
again,
you know, I
this
don't
sequence.
Night of the Doctor. There's aspects I like about it. There's some
Yep.
funny stuff. Having
Oh,
the right
time of the Doctor. Yeah.
yeah. There's some good stuff.
Yep. Yeah, we should probably we've been going at it for a while. We should probably start wrapping it up.
Okay. Well, hey,
But there's just so much to talk about. Like the other thing I want to talk about, like we could probably, at this point, like try and what are some things that we haven't talked about that we want to bring up. And for me, I think the most damning line in this, watching it now, 12 years on, is where they go to the Black Archive, right? Kate and Clara, and Kate is showing Clara the vortex manipulator. And she's like, we keep the secret literally from everyone. And Clara's like, well, why would you do this? She's like, we don't even share it with our allies. And Clara's like, well, why wouldn't you do that? And Kate is like, can you imagine Americans with the ability to rewrite history? And I'm like, fuck. Because dude, they're removing like they're putting lies on the CDC website. They're removing like Black history from Army and like the armed forces websites, like removing plaques because they have diversity language in them. Like what Kate said it's happening today.
Yeah,
like that is terrifying.
And that someone in another country assumed that's the way we behave,
and clearly we do.
Yeah, we're now we're just showing ourselves, showing our ass,
showing our whole ass. Yep, I was about to say our. What a man.
Well, I'm glad because see, we're with the beginning, folks. There's a lot going on in this country. Belvedere beer, like some days are good for me. Some days I'm like, can't look at any news.
Yep.
Just fuck this. It was nice to get to watch this because it is one of my comfort things.
Yep, it was a nice escape.
I have a weird comfort movie things. Henry V by Kenneth Branagh, Quatermass in the Pit. This,
Yeah, no, I mean, this is it's been like, again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I feel like it's useful for future us or future people listening to this podcast, like where we are at the moment. Like this was the first year or the first time in 30 years of me living in the Triangle, the regime sent its goons into Durham, North Carolina. Like I was afraid to go to Durham for the first time. And, I've lived here for like my family's lived here for like 30 years. And off and on, like you hear, Durham's been really gentrified over the course of that time. It's gone from like an abandoned sort of like rundown old manufacturing town, or used to be tobacco was processed here or whatever. Like, and it was all just run down when my family moved here. And now it's like, all gentrified Lego houses and stuff like that, and mixed use condo nightmares. But like people used to always talk about like how, people from Cary or Raleigh would be like, oh, don't ever go to Durham at night because it's dangerous. And what they mean is like, I'm afraid of Black people. But
I moved to Richmond. It's like that. People went, it's dangerous. It's like, when I moved here, they had bad crime, but it was getting fixed.
You know what I mean, then. This was the first time in 30 years of me living here that I was afraid to leave my house. I was afraid to go to Durham because the regime had its goons like fucking people up at Beauty World, and I'm like, this is a terrifying time to live in. So like, to revisit this episode now, it is a comfort episode, but it's also like, someone dealing with their traumas, and I'm like, I get that, because like we're dealing with that kind of stuff right now, and it is difficult. But like, yeah, no, this has been great because it is an escape. It's fun, and like there's a happy ending, which is like, God, it's the other thing about Doctor Who. It's a fiction, and like we can escape to fictions where happy endings are possible.
Well, I like what they've done in Modern Who is that they showed the Doctor there's a cause and effect to him doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, they would do it for like a second in Old Who, but then go on and, But that was
Yep.
TV. Got to
Yep.
reset.
Yep.
You got to be back right where you started. No one learns anything. No one no one does anything.
Yep.
So but I like that the thing of Davies making it after a huge thing has happened, that the doctors at we find at the root of it, the cause
Yep.
of how the outcome of the war, because he made the only choice he felt he had to save everybody else.
Yep.
Because, and I've liked it. And I like that it's an important part of the Doctor, and at times in a story arc or something it may be very important in, but at the other thing, it's just part of him. You kind of understand the Doctor a little bit better.
Yep.
Oh, that's why you want to save everybody.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that in this is, that, the youngest of the Doctors like going, at least I got past whatever terrible thing I've done and I could be this good man.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He's he can admit that he can allow himself to be the Doctor again, and that's the incredible thing is like, before they changed their mind, he was like, he tells the moment like these two guys are incredible, like, it's not, I didn't do anything. He's like, I'm not anything. He's like, what's the line? He says, great men, which he thinks that the Doctor is, which is fucking crazy because he is the Doctor. Like, it's the same person. He says, great men are forged in fire, and it is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame. And he, like, it's him. Like, he still can't see the good in himself. But like right there at the end, that moment where he says, like, I am the Doctor again, I feel like he does get that back.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a real triumph.
So like you said, you really, with just this episode, from like the end of where we see introducing John Hurt as the Doctor.
Yep.
And then Night of, and then this is, you really do get, the moment it was done, I went, yes, that's the dude that was in the Time War.
Yep.
And when, like, even in the little Night of the Doctor, you see his reflection, and I know what movie it's from. Hurt. Yeah, it's from, I think it's from Man for All Seasons.
Okay.
Because it was one of his youngest films. It's about
Thomas Becket. Yeah. Murder in the Cathedral, right?
No.
Oh, that's Thomas More.
Thomas More. It's about More, the guy, his number one
advisor. The same guy. Yeah. The guy kills. Yeah. So we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah. So and he's young, and I saw that clip, and I went, oh, that's fucking from, I know what movie that's from.
Yeah.
Because that they hint in Night of the Doctor that he is this Doctor for a long time.
Yes. Yep.
And I like that. And it's and it's given Big Finish a way to do, and they're good. I've liked every War Doctor thing I've listened to.
Me too. And like the complaint that when I do hear complaints about, because I do, especially about the John Hurt iteration, those 16 episodes, which we're just so lucky to have 16 hours of John Hurt playing Doctor Who on audio. It's incredible. It's such a privilege. It's such an honor to have that. But people are like, oh, but I've listened to these. He didn't do anything that bad. He was really down on himself in Day of the Doctor, but he never really did anything that bad. I'm like, that's because he was still the Doctor. Like, he's never not the Doctor. Like, what he imagines that he did, or what he holds himself responsible for doing, is a consequence of later Doctors,
Yeah.
So I just don't get it when people are like, oh, he never really did anything that bad in the Time War. Like, they want to see John Hurt do awful things. I'm like, what's wrong with you people? What is wrong with you that you want to see him be cruel and like evil and stuff like that? It's awful.
Well, I think in the ones with the other actor, the younger actor, I think you do have moments where he does a little more dodgy.
I haven't listened to those.
Some they're good. I think he makes some more bold choices, but he's also, I'm in the war, I'm not in the war.
Yes.
Like, he's like going, I'm just going to try to blunt whatever you're doing.
Yep.
And Matt Smith, he's triaging, and that's what they are. It's like, until he goes, I can't just keep triaging the wound.
Yep.
I can't, I have to become a participant. And then he goes, they're going to kill everyone, or if I just killed them.
And Matt Smith, I feel like, gestures towards that in the Day of the Doctor, when he says he was the Doctor when it was on the day it was impossible to be that. But like, that day is like every day for the War Doctor.
And then at the end they go, but you've always been the Doctor. That is
exactly
the day. That is the day that you needed to be the Doctor. You're doing it. You're making the choice that the Doctor would make.
So again, like, I just feel like that obviates, that complaint, because he's never not the Doctor. It gets harder. but like he does the best he can.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right. Well, that was, I'm glad you suggested it. That was a blast, man. It was good to talk about it. I really do love it,
Yeah.
and I can get very boisterous in my Moffat defense because I do love his stuff. But
Yes.
this is one where I can go, yes, the things that bug you about Moffat, he does them, but they're not as annoying.
Yeah,
So,
this was such a joy. And the other thing that I realized about this watching it again is like it really feels like an echoing also that the basic plot is basically a Christmas Carol, if you think
in a
about it.
way, in a lot of ways, yeah,
Because
it's
like
there's
he gets visited he gets visited by he gets gets three different visits, three different visitors, and like has to make a choice. Like I love that about it.
I was like, it's like because it's like in November and and the next one's the Christmas one on the
Yes.
planet Christmas, which is a
Yes.
really weird final story for a doctor. It's a very bizarre episode.
It's pretty bonkers. But yeah,
Dude,
no,
there's a lot of shit going on. It's like, do you have like 4 scripts and just got some clear tape and taped them together?
But yeah, no, thank you for doing this, Ross. I really did need to do this week, so I'm really excited to have gotten to talk about the Day of the Doctor.
Oh, it's blessed. All right, folks. Thank you for listening, and look forward to seeing you somewhere in time or space. Yes. There we go. Well, hello, and welcome to Gallifrey's Most Wanted. I'm Ross Aiken. I'm new. Jesus.